Welcome to Scrap Inventory, and this is the module that was developed to keep track of stock of items in a school or in a college, but can also be used in retail shops and warehouses. Now note that the Scrap software application serves as a tool for all businesses and schools as well as colleges to help them run their businesses effectively and efficiently. It's fun to use, so I encourage all the business people out there to take it on. Alright, now in this video I'm going to explain the preparatory steps of getting the system ready for use when running the inventory module. Now these preparatory steps within the inventory module are not too different from that in the accounting module. In fact, they are the same. So quickly I'll take you through it and then move on to this side. These are the actual processes involved within the inventory module. So when I'm done with the preparatory steps, then I'll take you through the actual processes. Right now, the first step that you have to go through to prepare the system is parameter, as you already know, and this is where you'll be setting the current academic year if it's a school, or the fiscal year if it's a business. Then the next step is sign up, where you will be registering all your suppliers, all your customers, etc., etc. Then we have open an account. This is where you'll be opening an account number for each of your supplier or each of your customer, and that is going to be used to track the daily sales and purchases that you will be making. Now this step can be combined in the sign up step. Right now, the fourth step is class or minor group. This is where you have the opportunity to group your suppliers or your customers. That is to say, you would want to group or categorize all your suppliers that deal in stationaries, or all your suppliers or customers that deal in telecommunication equipment. So you sort of put them into groups or class to make them very easy to identify your suppliers and your customers. So you can do that, the grouping over here under class. Then the next step is class level. This is where you actually determine the level of the groupings you made in a previous step. That is to say, you want to put these groups according to geographical location. That is, those clients or those suppliers that belong to, say, the stationary group and can be found or comes from the Greater Accra region of Ghana. So the Greater Accra region of Ghana is the major grouping that you can do over here under class level. Or it could be your suppliers that are coming from the Ashanti region of Ghana. Right, so that Ashanti region of Ghana is a major group which you can create here. Alright, then the next step is class account. This is where you actually link the account number to their class. The account here represents the supplier or the customer. So it's here that you actually link your suppliers to their groups or their class. Alright, so this is where you'll be doing the linking after you have signed them up and you've created the groupings. Right, then the next step is item. This is where you'll be creating all the items that are available in your shop or in your warehouse. Now for demonstration purposes, I'm going to create two items, book and pencil. Or let's assume I have books and pencils in my shop or in my warehouse. So as a storekeeper, the first thing I have to be aware of is to make sure that I've created all the items that I deal with in my shop. So this is why I'm going to be creating those items. Then the last step is charge. This is where you will be required to set the charges that must be applied. For instance, when you are doing a sale or a purchase. Right. So I'm going to create book and pencil as the only items I have available in my shop. So I click on item. Now under item ID, I'll type book. Then the item name can be the same, the description can also be the same. Then under item type, I select stock. This time around it is not bill as we were doing in the accounting module where we were preparing bill for the students, and so we have to create items that belongs to the bill or items that will be used for bill preparation. But this time around, since we are in the inventory module, the items that I'm going to be creating will have type called stock. Alright, so I select stock. Then under buy, I have to enter the original price that I bought each book. So let's say I bought it for 40 Ghana cedis, and then I'm going to sell it for 45 Ghana cedis. Right. Now note that by default the working currency that I've set is GHC. So all the amounts that I'll be entering in any field here will be in GHC. Right. Now the next field here, you can leave it blank. That is the HPPH, which stands for high price per hour. Sometimes you wouldn't want to sell the items you have in the shop, but instead you want to hide them out. You hide them to your customers so that they will return it later. So the amount you're going to charge per hour for hiring your items, you can enter it here. But like I said, you can leave it blank for now. Then the next field is pack size. Some of the items comes in packs, so you need to enter the quantities in each pack. Now let's assume the book is 1 in a pack, so I'm going to enter 1. Then under rate, this is where you actually select the rate or the quality of the item that you have in stock. The higher the number, the higher the quality. So, but by default, let me maintain 0 as the rate. And then expiry date. Some of the items should have expiry date, so you can enter the expiry date over here, or you can enter anything if it doesn't have anything like that. And then factory date too, you can enter anything. Now, this is where you actually select the company to which this item that we are creating belongs to. So let's leave the default value, which is a generic institution that we created. Now if there's anything for batch number, you can enter it here, as well as the lot number, but they are not required, so I can leave them blank and simply go ahead and submit. Right. Now let me create the next item, which is called pencil. So I enter pencil here, can be the same here as well. Then under item type, I make sure that I select stock instead of bill, because it's an inventory. Right. Now this where you enter, let's say I bought a pencil, each pencil for 20 Ghana cedis, and I'm going to sell it for 25 Ghana cedis. Right. The pack size is 1 in the pack. It's expiry. Right. Okay, so I'm done with creating all the items that I have in my shop. So the next step is, probably you can just simply scroll down. We have storage. Right. Now this is where you have the opportunity to create storage locations for your items in your shop or in your warehouse. So for purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to create two storage locations called label 1 and label 2, and I'm going to keep all my books in label 1 and all my pencils in label 2. Right, so under storage ID I call it label 1. The storage name can be the same. Now the branch ID, I need to specify the branch to which this location that I'm creating belongs to. So let's maintain the default branch, which is 00. Now we have capacity. You can specify the maximum quantities of items that can be contained in this storage location that we are creating. That's the meaning of capacity. And then the dimension will be the size of the storage location. That is the length, the width, and the height. But since they are not required, I can leave it blank and go ahead and submit. Right, so let me create the other storage location called label 2. Right, so I'm done with the creation of all the storage locations I have in my shop or in my warehouse. So the next step that I have to do is here, go to stock. Now as a storekeeper, you'll be doing what we call stock taking. So when you take stock, this is where you actually have to capture what you have done. So for instance, assuming I counted all the books I have in my shop, and I realized that there were 50 books and there were 30 pencils. This is where I'm supposed to capture it. Now assuming the shop is empty, there is nothing like books and pencils, then what I would instead prefer to do is purchases. Maybe I'll buy new items into the shop or into the warehouse. Right, but I'm assuming already there are some stock of items in my shop. I took stock and I realized that there were 50 books and 30 pencils. So this is where I'm going to capture it. Under stock ID, I can enter anything for the ID or click on generate to generate something for me. This means that this is the first stock that I'm taking. Right, and the stock name can be the same. Right there, I'm going to select the item that I've counted, so book, and let's assume there were 50 books. Now here too, I need to specify how much I bought each book, so 40, and how much I'm going to sell it, that's 45. Now the amount in stock currently for book is 2,000 Ghana cedis. That is, it's multiply 40 by 50. Right, and there's the currency. Now storage ID, I need to specify the location that the books are kept. So let's assume location label 1. Right, so I click on add. It comes into the criteria box. Then I go ahead and select the next item, which is say pencil, and let's assume pencil there were 30 in stock, and the amount I bought each pencil is 20. The amount I'm going to sell it is 25. Now the amount in stock currently is 600 Ghana cedis. That's for pencil. Alright, that is 20 times 30. Now I'm going to assume that the pencils are stored on label 2. That's the storage location. Then I click on add. It comes here. So I can repeat it for the other stock items. But since I only have books and pencils, I think I can go ahead and submit. Now note that just like within the accounting module, anytime you submit a form like this, you have to approve it before the accounting entries will be raised. Right, so let me simply go ahead and approve the stock that I've taken so that it will affect the account numbers. I have to navigate to the record that I want to approve by clicking on first, populates, right? This is the stock ID that I want to approve. So I simply scroll down and click on submit approve. Alright, so I'm done with the approval. So the accounting entries have been raised at the background for me. So as a check, let me simply go to statement of account and see what I have available for book in my stock, as well as if I go to inventory and look for statement of account, which is here, right? So I need to select the account number, which is book. So I'm going to look for book. I want to know the quantities of book I have in the system for this period. So let's say today's date, let me enter from this. Then as the arrow is pointing, let me go to user profile and click on report display. Right, so it's showing us that on this date 50 quantities of books were credited, and the balance, the quantity of books left as balance is 50. Right, so that's the statement of account for books. Now let's do the same for pencil and C, and we should expect to see 30 for pencils. So this date, we did everything today, so let me simply select today's date. Alright, report display. Right, so on this date 30 quantities of pencils was credited, and the balance remains 30. So that's the statement of account. So as an accountant or as a storekeeper, you'll be using the statement of account a lot to know your current status of your account numbers or of your stock, right? So let me go back to inventory and continue with the steps. So I'm done with all these 3 steps: storage, location, stock. I'm on stock transfer. Now sometimes you would want to transfer some of your items from one location to another, and so you can do that stock transfer by clicking on this link. Right, so you select the item that you want to transfer over here, maybe book, then you enter the quantity of book that you want to transfer. Then under storage ID from, this is where you specify the location that these books are found currently, and then the storage ID 2 is where you select the location you want to transfer it to. So when you are done, you simply click on submit. Right, and note that this one too, you need to approve it before the accounting entries will be raised. Right, so let me go back to inventory. Now in the next step we have purchases. Now in case you want to do any purchase or buy new items into the shop, this is where you can capture it as purchases. And then we have purchases return. Sometimes when you purchase an item, you realize that some of them are not good, or some of them are expired or something like that, so you would want to return it back to where you bought it from. So you need to capture that transaction also. So you click on purchases return and specify the amount your quantity you are returning, and etc. Now when you do sales, this is where you can capture it under sales. And then we have sales return. Sometimes your customers would want to return some of the items that they bought from you, probably because it's expired or it's damaged or something. So you have to capture that return quantity under this link. Alright, now whenever you want to make payments for any sale or purchases that you do, you can go here, fund management, that is payment, and then capture the amount you want to pay, or the amount your customers want to pay, etc. etc. Yeah, so basically these are the actual processes that you'll be doing within the inventory module in Scrap. So just take it. It's very simple to understand. And then we have what we call library management, where you'll be doing your high, if you want to hide your items, if instead of selling them, this is where you capture it, right, etc, etc. Okay, so thank you so much for watching and have a nice day. Bye.